Hey, I'm Kevin, and this is HFX by Bike, a channel all about getting around Halifax by bike. I'm demoing another viewer-requested trip, this time from the Forum in West End Halifax to the Exhibition Centre in Goodwood, south of Bears Lake. As always, I'll be playing a game of +1, -2 along the way. Every time I run into something that makes my trip safer or more convenient, I'll add a point, and every time I run into something that makes it less safe or less convenient, I'll take 2 away. You can keep track of how I think the ride is going by looking at the heads-up display in the bottom right-hand corner. I'm just starting out at the Forum. I'm filming this on a quiet Sunday morning, so traffic will be quite a bit lighter than you'd expect to see during the week. For most of the trip, it won't matter though, since you wouldn't be in traffic anyways. These are the Windsor Street painted bike lanes. I'm only going to be in them for about a half a block as I make my way to Almond Street. Bike lanes are currently being installed on Almond, but not really on this section. This is a major road that I'm going to use to head west, and this is the part of the trip where you're going to be most exposed to traffic if you were to do it during rush hour. This section of George Daphne Avenue is a school zone, and some speed bumps have been installed to try to slow down cars moving through the area. This ramp is going to get me onto the Bears Road multi-use path. The intersection at the mall entrance is kind of a mess. I went over it in more detail in my Let's Fix video, but there are multiple conflict points where pedestrians and cyclists crossing with the signal are at risk of being hit by inattentive drivers. This happens way more than it should, but at least it's covered by cross rides, so there's no need to dismount. The drops down to road level at each of these intersections is really aggressive, like it just feels like it's not designed properly. The bridge up ahead only has a sidewalk, and it's too narrow for people to pass each other, so you're required to walk across. When I recorded this, the sidewalk across the bridge was falling apart. It's since been patched, so that'll start to show up in the videos in early 2025. The path picks up on the other side of the bridge, and it's even on the right side of a guardrail. This ramp is just going to dump me into the road, but this is a kind of undeclared bikeway that connects up to Joe Howe Drive. This ramp is a relatively new addition to the bike network, and it facilitates the climb up to Joe Howe Drive. There's a signal-protected facilitated crossing at Joe Howe Drive. It's going to connect me over to the Chain Lakes Trail on the other side. The trail functions as a multi-use path, and it's going to take me south out past the inner suburbs of Halifax. Be sure to let pedestrians on the trail know that you're coming by ringing your bell. This is especially important when they're older, or when there are young children or animals, or even just multiple people present. While I was filming, the city was doing some work to narrow the places where the trail intersects with the road, and to install some pedestrian lights. There's a seamless connection onto the Dunbrack Greenway. This ramp extension lets me get up to St. Margaret's Bay Road without any issues. Unfortunately, there's no bike infrastructure on this part of the road. Being generous and counting the undeclared bikeway in the West End, I was in one form of bike infrastructure or another for about 4 kilometers. The St. Margaret's Bay Road painted bike lanes pick up right after the bridge, which makes the misconnection feel a little bit silly, to be honest. These are just painted lanes, but they're going to make moving south quite a bit more approachable next to this high-speed traffic. I'm approaching the intersection with Prospect Road where the bike lane ends. They kept me out of traffic for just a little bit over a kilometer. It's light traffic, so I'm just going to move over to the left turn lane. If this were higher traffic, I would probably be inclined to dismount at the lights and do a 2-stage crossing on foot. This is Prospect Road. It has a paved shoulder that's going to function as a de facto bike lane, and it's going to carry me the rest of the way to the Exhibition Centre. I've arrived at the Exhibition Centre, but as far as I can tell, there's no bike parking on site. My trip from the Forum to the Halifax Exhibition Centre took about 28 minutes, which is reasonably competitive with the 12 to 22 minute estimated trip time for someone doing it by car, and much faster than the 53 to 75 minutes it would take by transit. I spent most of my time in a combination of bike infrastructure, paved shoulders, or traffic-calm streets, with the main exception being Almond Street between Windsor and Connaught. There are a few other pain points along the way that would be intimidating to some people. In particular, I think the mall entrance on Bears Road and the intersection between St. Margaret's Bay Road and Prospect during rush hour are probably barriers to making this trip by bike for those new to doing so. That's it for this one. Let me know what kinds of trips around the city you'd like to see covered or local businesses that I should visit by going to the video request map linked in the description. And if you like this kind of thing, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. As always, thanks for watching, and see you next time.